You could say the Shadow Dimension docu-series is a study into supernatural shadow phenomena, but it's so much more than that. The amazing people that we've brought into this project and the fantastic locations we've gone to are a testament to that. Now, COVID really threw a monkey wrench into our plans for the Shadow Dimension series. We had planned to go to a lot more locations and were unable to until late last fall. But where we were able to get to were absolutely phenomenal. Yes, the idea was to visit locations that had reported this type of shadow phenomenon happening at, but we weren't looking for just your regular haunted hotspot. The theory we're working with here is that this type of activity is increased by special conditions, namely that vortex energy that wells up from the Earth's magnetic core and ends up spawning portals and other supernatural activity around the world.
When we look at a site that already has energy coming through it, maybe from ley lines, these sort of places that have a spring or a well underneath them. And then when you combine that with granite is this conductor of insulator of electromagnetic energy because of the silica, because it works like those silicon microchips, that this is basically magnifying that energy, it's amplifying it, and these entities can just come through, they can manifest a lot easier.
We spend several episodes discussing and visiting what's now known as the Conjuring House, the historic farmhouse in Rhode Island in which the movie The Conjuring was based. We do cover the truth of what happened there, the real history behind the house, and the fact that it wasn't a demonic case like the movie portrays, but that it was 10 years worth of hauntings that still occur to this day, and really a seance that had gone bad.
When the Perrins lived here, this was actually their dining room. It actually served as the seance place, we like to call it. The seance took a turn for the worst. A lot of people don't know that. And whatever they conjured up went after Carolyn Perrin and actually threw her in the adjacent room, like 20 feet.
I get asked a multitude of times about, was it Bathsheba? Wasn't it Bathsheba? If it wasn't Bathsheba, then who was it? Who was Manny? Do you think Manny was this guy or do you not? Well, none of them ever walked up to us and said, hello, my name is so-and-so.
But the focus of the Shadow Dimension is, of course, on the shadow phenomena that's been witnessed there and why it's been witnessed there. And even then, it's not so much the shadows, we're talking time slips and other strange phenomena that's been happening there.
And then he nudged the man beside him and pointed at her, and she was the ghost to them. Suddenly, she realized that she was in their dimension at the same time that they were in her dimension.
Then there's the Mineral Springs Hotel in Alton, Illinois, an extremely historic hotel that also is rife with paranormal activity. It's also the location in which I saw the shadow smoke morph into the apparition of a little girl. What's fantastic about this location is that it's built right on top of a mineral spring. It overlooks the Mississippi River. You have the limestone bluffs right there. Just up the road are the indigenous Piasaw Caves, and then a few miles south are the ancient Cahokia Mounds. So while we were only able to get to 2 primary locations for this season, they were absolutely the perfect locations to explore. There are so many people that I was honored to get involved with this project, the Shadow Dimension. Now I know that there's a certain disdain for the term expert in this field of research, but we're talking people that have decades of experience. They've been intimately involved in this subject matter for a long, long time. Out in the field, researching and investigating, putting in the work, making new discoveries, and really bringing to the public knowledge that had been previously lost or hidden. We're talking people like Carl L. Johnson, a demonologist with nearly 50 years of experience in the field of researching supernatural activity. There's Johnny Enoch, researcher, writer, and lecturer of esoteric subjects and extraterrestrial phenomena for over 20 years, with a special interest in ancient religions and symbolism, quantum physics, and the multiverse. I was honored to bring in Alexandra Holser, author, investigator, intuitive, and daughter of the famed paranormal investigator Hans Holser. She's been involved in the field of the supernatural her entire life, and she continues to research this phenomenon to this day. Then there's Andrea Perrin, ufologist and author of the House of Darkness, House of Light series, the collective memoir which chronicles the supernatural events during the decade her family lived in what is now known as the Conjuring House. We also invited Mark Anthony, an attorney and psychic medium with an extensive background in science, quantum physics, survival of consciousness and near-death experiences, history, archaeology, philosophy, and theology. Mark covers it all. We also talked with Mary Marshall, a paranormal researcher, educator, and medium studying several disciplines including paranormal, cryptozoology, psychic mediumship, quantum physics, neuroscience, and the multiverse. Another fantastic intellectual. Then there's Coyote Chris Sutton, shaman of the Red Cedar Circle following the Sisiwis medicine tradition. He's trained in psychic arts, numerology, tarot, dowsing, and shamanic drumming. We also talked with Sam Baltrusis, lecturer and prolific author of paranormal books, including several books on haunts of New England. He's had several experiences with a hat-wearing shadow entity connected to Salem, Massachusetts. Of course, we included Nicole Guillaume, psychic medium and founder of Guiding Echoes. She studies spiritual systems, philosophy, mind and body, and the methodology in which various cultures interact with and utilize personal energy. There's also my co-hostess from Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Victoria Munday, who's also been an investigator and involved in television for the past 30 years. And there are several others we talked to throughout the Shadow Dimension series. Again, I was really honored to bring in all of these people with such a wide and vast background. It really helped us to delve into this phenomenon from all these different angles. When people think of shadow phenomena, they usually think of something dark and scary. That's what our modern pop culture has fed into us. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes it can actually be benevolent. But most times it's just really rather benign. It's just standing there watching and observing us, not really doing much of anything. But we tend to fear what we don't understand. Sometimes they're slipping in and out of our plane of existence, possibly to some other dimension. And they've been doing this for a long, long time.
The universe is vast. Our ocean beds have many stories to reveal, and that history is an ongoing process. And there's always more to learn. And then that corrects past history that becomes incorrect history. And we have to really rewrite it again, if you will.
There's a rich, rich history to these shadows, and the Shadow Dimension explores that, going all the way back into ancient times, back to ancient Sumer and ancient Egypt. We see how their stories have become enmeshed in cultures all over the world for thousands of years. We are just getting started with this research throughout the connected universe. Come explore the Shadow Dimension with us.